Hello, friends. My name is Swami, and I'm here with my friend.
Nimbas.
We're here to talk again about all kinds of things. Some of the things are related to my book, The Nine Realities of Stardust, which basically is pretty much about everything there is. Uh,
He's cute.
but yeah, the young man on the cover is very intriguing and engaging. And we we have discussed the fact that there are a lot of other books we may bring into this and at least mention them or show the cover. This is not entirely a book series, but also that, for example,
We don't want it to get to be like a book club, right? Because I think that would be boring to
not
the
entirely, no,
kids.
a lot of people don't want to read books, but just as an example, I'm going to show a few of the books that I've written. This is
I
kind of,
haven't written any books, so
well,
you're off the hook.
anyway, I have other books that I've written, and so we may talk about some of these someday. This is The Hounds of Elkhorn.
That's scary. That's a scary one.
Well, sort of. It's a mystery story.
Don't read that to your kids at bedtime.
This is
That's my favorite right there. I love that story. These
the,
are stories,
the
kids.
Purchasing Mother's Son. Yeah, it takes
Yeah.
place in Thailand, where I grew up 250 years ago. This is The Secret of
Stories
the
are very
Golden
important.
Phallus. This is
That is not a story. That is a book like The Nine Realities, which really needs its own series, in my opinion.
yeah, it's a wisdom book for men about the male
Okay, a
mysteries.
wisdom book. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah,
I couldn't
and
think
now
of
there's a
it.
series of novels which are also male oriented, but are I think wonderful fantasy adventures. The Moontusk Chronicles. This is number one, Rendezvous in a Ruined City,
It's a
and
love story.
very much a love story. The second one is called Orchid of Awakening, which is kind of an intense tropical island story. A lot of it.
Yeah, it's when I was reading those, I lived in that world. It's
That's
a
a
whole
great
other
tribute.
world.
Thank you. I really appreciate hearing that because that was what I was doing is world building with a lot of detailed characters. This one is called The Return of Othis. This is book 3 in the series. And
Those are your drawings, right?
yeah, they're my paintings. And then book 4 is called Ivory and Gold in this series. And I'm now working on book 5, which is called The White Mammoth, which will.
I'm working on smiling more.
So do it.
It's hard.
I know.
Oh, I have to
I know.
practice.
Nimbus has such a wonderful smile, but sometimes
I
he has
know,
to
but I
force it.
really, yeah.
So anyway, those are just among the books that we may talk about sometime. But this time we're going to talk about what, Nimbus?
Today we're going to discuss, is the universe benign? They saw me look at my crib sheet. Is the universe benign or hostile? That's our question.
And
Whether the universe is benign or
Mhm.
hostile.
So what do you think about that?
Me?
Yeah, what's your opinion?
Well, that is a very deep subject. And as a great grandfather who I tend to hand out free advice to parents on this show, if we want to call it that, series, that is, if our parenting is successful, our children will think the universe is benign. And if the child's maturation, I don't know if that's too big of a word to use on here, growing up, I don't like to use big words, but growing up is problematic, then they're going to feel that the universe is hostile. It's not friendly. So that's a deep. I personally think that the universe is a loving, kind. It can be hostile, like a loving mother who has many children, and she doesn't always have time to take any stuff. So she may, and also her decisions may not be what we as her children want, but
Okay.
in the long run, they are very wise decisions.
What you say is really interesting, Nimbas, because it sounds very anthropomorphic to me, and I'm not criticizing it that way, but I don't view the universe as a mother or a father or a parent.
That's
But
just
wait
a
a
matter
second.
of speaking.
Well, it is a manner of speaking, but my take on it is that the universe can be hostile, uh, and it can seem friendly with the right attitude towards it. But I think that what is really intriguing to me that I see in the universe is that the universe seems to be supportive of the appearance and flourishing of life as we know it. And there may be all kinds of life that isn't the way we know it. I think that occasionally it seems hostile because really awful and unexpected things can happen, and whole species, perhaps whole planets, can just get wiped out unexpectedly. Certainly, whole species and almost whole ecosystems. Almost our planet has come close to extinction a number of times, but I don't think that the universe is actively hostile, and I don't think that the universe is like a loving parent specifically. We can refine that thought. But I think that the universe is basically supportive, that if we are, depending on if we are willing to accept responsibility for everything we can do to make our experience happy and flourish, we just have to kind of get out of our own way, rather than. I think that a lot of what seems like a hostile universe is when we get in our own way. I don't know. Anyway,
And
perhaps
instead of saying she, that is prejudicial. I should have said it. Okay.
it really is an it, and so is Gaia. We're talking
Correct.
kind of about the universe, but when you look at what we really experience directly, for the most part, in the most immediate sense, is the Earth, Gaia, and our immediate surroundings. And the thing about Gaia is that Gaia is a support system for biological life, and we're part of that. So it's wonderful to view that as largely benign and supportive, but it's an it, is what I think. To me, that's a fairly important point. Although I love the mythology of the story of Gaia is important in this book. It's a wonderful human myth, and also has become connected to the scientific story about
Look at those
ecosystem.
pictures, kids, when you get the book. When you buy the book, look at those pictures and maybe even copy them and color them.
Well,
even the grown-up kids can do that.
Yeah, the fun thing about it is that for me, the Greek myth of Gaia is that Gaia really doesn't favor any of her children. She loves them all equally, unless some of them oppress the others. And in a sense, that means that it's our responsibility. If we have a hard time feeling the universe is hostile, it's partly because we're exposing ourselves to dangerous things, and maybe that's not a bad or stupid thing to do.
Maybe we're working against it too. And I want to make a point about Gaia.
Please.
Gaia is, for purposes of our discussion and our reality, it's not a goddess, okay?
Right.
That's not what we're talking about. It's a system, the Gaia system. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. It's a system of systems.
Yeah. Okay, bingo. Well, that's right in the book. Well, I think today what people mean by Gaia is that the Earth as a single living system, like a living organism. Yeah. That the Earth is a cell, and we're components, parts of that cell.
Definitely.
We could go on and on. I mean, things are happening on the Earth. You ain't seen nothing yet. And it's, like that. So, period, question mark.
Well, and I agree, but the interesting thing that pondering what I call the 9 realities, which is really based on the fact the Earth, Gaia, and we are largely composed of complex atoms. That became a way of
Stardust.
stardust. Yes, stardust became a way of opening this out to the whole universe, and I think the whole universe is like an organism too.
Absolutely.
And we are,
Yes,
again, we
absolutely.
are part of that, so that there's really no boundary there, right?
You could
Between us
conceive
and
of
anything
the
else.
Earth as a component
Hmm.
and that the galaxy is a cell. I mean, and it goes on.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, as above, so below. And it could go
Right.
on to infinity. And that's a whole other story.
Right. Right.
You know, I mean, if you really start contemplating these things, you're going to just be so, it's like looking off the edge of a 1,000-foot cliff.
Right.
And it's just like, wow, what can you say? Just like you say, it takes your breath away. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's why
Mhm.
silence is often the best response to once
Sure.
you get beyond sentences and paragraphs. Anyway, so
Yeah, absolutely. I think what you're alluding to too is what I talk about, that really, I think the most natural response I have to considering these things is awe, a sense of wonder. You know,
yes, yes. And
it's
I have a favorite quote from my favorite author. This is a plug, okay? You plug in your books. Dao De Jing, Dao De Jing, whatever. It doesn't matter the tones. Lao Tzu, that book, look it up. We have our own translation. I don't have it here on my desk. But one of his, in there it says, between O and Ah, like O or Ah, how much difference is there? Okay? I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying.
what does that mean? Yeah, what does that mean? Put it in.
So, between benign and hostile, think about the difference. I mean, those are words.
Yeah,
so
they are.
If I don't like something, the universe is hostile. If it destroys my civilization, I think it's hostile. Whereas if it lets me flourish and have fun and play all the time and not have to work and everything is wonderful, then it's benign. But those are words, and it's all my subjective, which means the way I think it is, not the way mathematics or can prove it. It's my subjective feeling about it.
Right. Of course you
May all beings find peace.
Okay, now maybe that's enough for this time, Nimbas. Thank you. Bless you for your wisdom and your funniness.
Nimbas, it's time to shut up now.
Your smile and your sweetness and your...
Oh, stop it.
Stop.
It's an act. It's an act.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah. All right.
Okay.
Bye, kids.
Bye,
See you next time.